But anyways, I talked about some bad news. I talked about some interesting news. Now let's talk about, if you can believe it, good news. Zohran Mamdani is now ahead of Andrew Cuomo in the New York City mayor's race. Anybody outside of America might not know who the fuck this guy is. He's a socialist, actual by name socialist, running for mayor in New York City. It's one of the first times that there hasn't been a whole like Red Scare campaign, not a successful one anyway, smearing somebody for being a socialist. Many, even in a hostile media environment, most of the hostile questions directed against this guy have been about his position on Israel. But they only make very casual mention of, oh yeah, you know, you're a democratic socialist, in the kind of tone that suggests that, oh yeah, that's kind of unusual, isn't it? How about that, right? Nobody knew who this guy was like 6 months ago, or like even 3 or 4 months ago. And now he was he is currently a councilman, city councilman. He's running for mayor against Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of the whole state of New York. And he's winning. Zohran Mamdani, the young Democratic socialist who's been rising in the mayor's race, is now ahead of Andrew Cuomo with just 2 weeks until the Democratic primary, a new poll reviewed in full by Politico found. Also, since this is Politico, this is American news, they fucking hate this guy, by the way. Be aware, all the news in America fucking hates this guy. Because he is like pro-Palestine, and also he's a socialist and isn't like in the pocket of the military-industrial complex. The tone for that is particularly strong in New York because that's where a lot of the Democratic Party is based out of. A lot of Democratic candidates, even from other states, either have connections in or are from New York. I shit you not when I say that the guy who was governor of my state and ran for the governor of my state in 2021, I think he was the governor from 2014 to 18, and then ran again in 2021, wasn't from Virginia. He was from New York and like just kind of haphazardly registered a house in Virginia so he could run for governor here. Nobody likes these people. It's like the American version of old money and like Wall Streeters, basically. That's who's running the Democratic Party right now, and they're all like connected up in New York. And that's why this is getting so much attention. Because this is like the Democratic Party being upset at its source. The survey, this is the one that puts Zohran Mamdani ahead, conducted by public policy polling for Democrat Justin Brannon's city comptroller campaign, found Mamdani beating Cuomo 35% to 31%, a difference that is narrowly within the 4.1% margin of error, which means that however you slice it, they are neck and neck. Gotta go, I'm afraid. Have a good one. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. If or whenever you show up again. You know, whatever. You know, any way you slice it, Zohran Mamdani is likely to be ahead. And his campaign largely consists of a couple of things. It consists of freezing the rent. There's a perennial rent and mortgage crisis in the United States. Housing costs have gone up and up and up and up, and they have never come down, and wages have never risen substantially to compensate for that. So people can't afford rent. That's his number one promise. He's making public transit free at the point of use. Public transit, as the name suggests, is public. It is funded by tax money. And the fares aren't super expensive, but a few bucks each time you ride the bus or ride the train does add up over time, and people notice that. So he's proposed to make that free, and I saw some clips from the debate that happened just last night, and he's so good at this. He preempted the questions of how would he pay for that by saying, and I will tax rich people to pay for it. I will increase the taxes on like corporations and the wealthiest people in the state, so that we can pay for free public transit for everybody, making the city more affordable and just better. And on top of that, he's proposing building more affordable housing units, which is based. Like, this guy has yet to propose something that I disagree with. which may mean that I need to see a psychiatrist, because he cited a line from another New York politician that if you agree with me on 9 out of 12 issues, vote for me. If you agree on 12 out of 12 issues with me, you should see a psychiatrist. Which is funny. And probably true. Cuomo has been the constant frontrunner since his March 1st entrance into the race to oust Mayor Eric Adams, with most publicly released polls showing him with comfortable leads. This new survey, which did not include a ranked choice voting simulation, stands to signal a reordering of the highly unusual contest ahead of the June 24th election. Did not include a ranked choice voting simulation. I guess that's significant to include. I don't know what the implications of it are, though. Poll of 573 likely Democratic voters was conducted between June 6th and the 7th, after 9 candidates faced off in the first televised debate. The following day, June 5th, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez endorsed Mamdani, lending political star power to his campaign. This was huge, by the way. Also, it is worth mentioning, for any political scientists, they might have cringed when they saw a sample size of only 573. But look, I'm at a point right now that I will take a bad poll over a fake poll. Polling is the devil and is not to be trusted, but I'll take a 573 sample size of real people over a 2,000 or 3,000 sample size of people that they made up using an AI chatbot, right? Because there are a number of polls that do that. 39% of the poll's responses came from landlines and 61% from text messages. Oh, yeah. A methodology that favored Mamdani, given the strength with those responding via text, according to the results. Very, very fucking nice for them to put this in there, saying oh, yeah, this is a Mamdani biased poll. Was installing my new filter into my fish tank. Been listening in the background. Oh, cool. I hope that fish is living quite comfortably. This is this paragraph right here is a load of bullshit, because even 39% landline responses is way overcounting the proportion of people that use landlines. If anything, this methodology using 39% landline phones and 61% text messages is heavily skewed in favor of Cuomo, because I've mentioned this before, the people that mostly pick up the phone on a landline when somebody calls them are older people. And older people lean more towards Andrew Cuomo because of the bias towards people they know, name recognition, etc., etc. But everybody uses text. It used to be the case that it was mostly young people that use text, but now even grandma and grandpa can text using their phones. So anybody can and sometimes will respond to a text bank or a text-based, a political poll or survey, should they choose to respond at all. There's some people that just don't feel like it, So this is just false, not even remotely true. They're just lying here. This poll actually slightly favors Andrew Cuomo, and even with that and a 4% margin of error, which makes my stomach turn as somebody who's political science literate, Mamdani is still ahead by 4%, which is almost exactly the margin of error. He might actually win the mayor's race of the largest city in the United States. Survey showed the race continuing to narrow to a 2-person contest between the youngest and oldest candidates in the field, but didn't offer respondents the chance to rank up to 5 candidates in order of preference, as they will be able to do on primary day. Yes, you have mentioned this already. Okay. Cuomo poll. Okay, yeah, this is the older poll that showed Cuomo leading Mamdani by 56 to 44. Conducted over the same period. Wait, this is just a repeat of an older poll, but they did it again? Okay. Data for progress from a Mamdani allied super PAC. I do appreciate that Politico is saying, oh, wow, here's an interesting poll showing that this guy is ahead. But don't worry, he's not actually going to win. You guys aren't actually going to get like a rent freeze or free buses or a city-owned grocery store. Don't be fucking insane. No, you're going to get establishment deep state slop for fucking 4 more years and like increased police spending and more enshittification of everything in the city. Don't be ridiculous. You can't have anything good. This is America. Oh, great. They interviewed a Cuomo spokesperson. It's telling that the only polls showing this trend line are paid for by Zohran Mamdani Inc. What the fuck? I didn't expect them to be that, like, insane with it. Referring to Mamdani's choice, cut a fundraising video for Brannon, though that video came after Brannon's team commissioned this poll. Wait, so then, again, this is Politico just lying here. Oh, yeah, clearly this is, Mamdani's choice to do some video editing, I guess, for this other guy played into this, even though this happened after the poll happened. As you know, we've had a poll in the field at the same time. Our poll showed us a race with thus maintaining was now been a consistent double-digit lead for more than 3 months, which is rare for NYC mayoral race in recent memory. They're trying to build up their lead as more than it was, but remember that, like, it was the case that Cuomo was, like, 60-something to 10, like, 2 months ago against Zohran Mamdani. And now the gap is closed, and they're saying, oh, yeah, this guy has no chance. Look, even the way that they're phrasing Mamdani and his campaign's reaction to this, Mamdani's campaign... or Mamdani's camp took a victory lap. When you run a disciplined grassroots campaign, relentlessly focus on an agenda to address the crises of working people's lives, these are the results. History by, welcome back. Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to you as well. I'm currently covering that Zohran Mamdani is actually about a win in New York. That would be like a fucking birthday present to everybody in America. That would be like best Pride Month if that was the case. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Mamdani's spokesperson Andrew Epstein said, New York City is so close to turning the page on the corrupt politics of the past and winning a future we can afford. I know I could be being conspiratorial, but I guarantee they specifically like looked for the guy who had the name like Epstein and asked him the question instead of anybody else. Like, I know that was going through their heads because fucking the people who run the Democratic Party that, like I said, is like based in New York for the most part, fucking hate anybody that wants to change anything at an institutional level. They hate you, they hate me, they hate Zohran Mamdani, they hate everything. And if you call them on it, they will literally cry about it. The poll found the remaining candidates, some of whom have been running for far longer, nowhere near the 2 frontrunners. So it's clear that the race is going to come down to these 2. Oh boy. I remember seeing this paragraph somewhere else. Actually, these 2 paragraphs. Support for Mamdani was strongest among white and Asian voters, but 27% of black voters surveyed support him, as did nearly 1/3 of Hispanic voters, an indication he's gaining multiracial support among New Yorkers. Cuomo's lead with black voters remains particularly durable at 42%. Damn, only 42% of black voters support Andrew Cuomo, and Politico's like, oh yeah, that's durable, you know? Meanwhile, no mention of like how many... Interesting that they chose to not include how many like voters from the like white American, Asian American bloc support Mamdani, but they did specify the support for Cuomo. This is not like, I mean, the inclusion of the word durable, like the narrative framing device, is kind of egregious, but otherwise this is like less egregious than than I think what I'm about to get to, and certainly some stuff that I saw earlier. Mamdani, a member of the state assembly. Oh, he's a state assemblyman, not a councilman. That's my beat. More lefty misinfo. Sorry, guys. has leveraged social media to gain attention in the crowded race, employing slickly produced videos highlighting his platform, like free bus service or government-run grocery stores. Government-run grocery stores. Jesus fucking Christ, these people hate him so much. Slickly produced. They're literally trying to make this guy everything bad all at once. They're trying to say, like, yeah, he's a car salesman, he's a terrorist. I don't know if you guys saw that, like, horrendously edited photo. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. They Cuomo campaign put out an attack ad, like pamphlet against Mamdani, and they fucking did the most racist photo edit I've ever seen. Here, hold on. Zohran Mamdani? He'd probably have it on his page, although he is pretty active on social media. I'm following this fucking guy. He's cool. Yeah, wait, here it is. Here it is. Straight from the source. Look at this. Andrew Cuomo's afraid he'll lose, so his donors want you to fear me. His super PAC just sent out a mailer that artificially lengthened and darkened my beard. This is blatant Islamophobia, the kind of racism that explains why MAGA billionaires support his campaign. Oh yeah, no mention of that from Politico either. The campaign of Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor is being supported by billionaires, the likes of whom contributed massive amounts of money to Trump's campaign, and some of whom were present at the inauguration. Those people are very invested in seeing Zohran Mamdani lose this mayor's race, and as a result, I am all the more invested in seeing him win it. Here's the original photo, and then, like, yeah, you can see there's some filmic grain, or, like, paper grain applied to the photo. It's not just his beard. They darkened his hair, too. Darkened his hair. They increased the contrast. This is not as high contrast as this. They've brightened it up in these parts so that you can see the... Yeah, and like all the hair on his face is darker. They gave him more beard. look, so they darkened his beard here. But then look at this side of his beard. He doesn't have this like tiny thing of beard sticking out there. They added that. God, that's funny. If you guys remember, some of you might not be old enough to remember, but the Republicans and Democrats actually did this to Barack Obama in 2008. Hillary Clinton and John McCain both in their attack ads. Actually, no, John McCain actually might have been more classy than this, which is hilarious to think about. Hillary Clinton, another New York Democrat, actually edited... had her team, campaign team, edit photos of Barack Obama to make his skin appear darker, to make him appear blacker. And of course, they also did some of these same tricks when they found like one photo of him like wearing a turban. So yeah, this is the kind of shit that like, this is the most that they can leverage against Zohran Mamdani, right? Like, he doesn't even support Israel. Look how Muslim he looks, and that sort of shit. And then these guys are saying like, oh yeah, he's a terrorist, he's Muslim, he's a fucking car salesman, I guess. I don't know. They're literally trying to make an attack out of the fact that he's run a very savvy and effective campaign and advocated for things like city-owned grocery stores and free bus service. I guess there's not really a way that they can make free bus service sound like something that would destroy the city, so they have to say free bus service. Although I do notice as well, they have discluded any mention of him saying he wants to do rent freezes, and they have added his voters don't seem to mind that he hasn't articulated a robust, realistic plan to pay for these programs, despite the fact that he has done this like repeatedly. They'll just lie about you. They fucking hate you. These people hate you more than anything. They hate like the possibility of anything good happening if it means that like their donor daddies get upset, or if they're the donor daddies themselves that, you know, makes them upset. And good things make these people pretty fucking upset. What was once a long-shot candidacy by the 33-year-old candidate has evolved into a competitive effort to lead the nation's largest city. He's only 33. God damn. Cuomo has sharpened his attacks against Mamdani in recent days by being racist. by questioning his thin resume and ability to lead a complex city government. Thin resume. Give me a fucking break. As if. Look, even, like, notwithstanding the fact that this is obviously also a lie, this is still better than the resume that Andrew Cuomo has, right? Because Andrew Cuomo was the governor of New York State during the coronavirus pandemic. And under his administration in New York, we saw massive corruption and cuts to Medicaid and the sort of ignorance and then a subsequent cover-up of mass, like, senior citizen deaths in nursing homes and, like, massive abuse in nursing homes that resulted in older people in New York disproportionately dying from COVID. Not to mention the fact that he also, like, allegedly, of course, legal allegations, whatever, harassed 13 women that worked for him and then, like, sued them. And his excuse was, hey, come on, guys, I'm Italian. Which is funny, but it's also like you're just a horrible human being, and I hate you because you hate clearly everything and everyone around you. This is going to be so good if he wins, and I'm actually at the stage where this is the first taste of hope that I've gotten in, like, some time. Like, in a considerable amount of time. This is one of the few things that, like, gives me hope. Is that, like, if Zohran Mamdani succeeds in winning the mayorship of the largest city in the country, this is like, imagine if somebody ran, like, out of left field as a socialist for the mayorship of Tokyo or like Paris, Istanbul, like a capital C city in Europe, and not just like your regular socialist party, a proper populace that said, look, we are going to do rent control, we are going to do city-owned grocery stores, we're going to turn things over to the people, we're going to bolster public transit networks and make them free, we're going to what else? I'm forgetting something. I know that there's something else there. We're going to tax the rich more. And, like, if that kind of politic wins in New York City, the biggest city in the country, and especially with the ability to run a social media campaign as charismatically as he has, then there is hope for this country. And that is a broad categorical statement, which, like, I know there are a few people that love to hand-wring over me making categorical statements because of, I don't know, they don't like categorical statements, I guess. I don't know how you engage with politics without those, but okay. If he wins, there's hope for America. And I mean that. I seriously do mean that. Because this is the nexus of Democratic Party power. This is like the thing that has destroyed progressive activism in this country for 40 plus years. Like, the reason that socialism doesn't exist in this country is not because of Republicans necessarily, at least not on their own. They needed the Democrats' help for this. And without the Democrats' help, they would not be effective enough at stopping socialism from rising. Again, it's like that Malcolm X shit, right? Like, the liberal is a more potent enemy to the socialists, or I think it was Dr. King that said this. One of the two. Sometimes I get the quote mixed up because I think they both had, like, similar things to say on this subject. The liberal is a more potent enemy to the socialist because the liberal, on an institutional level, this is something that I'm adding, is better at posing as an ally to the socialist only to suppress their efforts by trying to beat them and bring them in line with the liberals, right? The fascists are openly hostile to the socialists. They make no secret of being enemies to socialists, right? Meanwhile, the liberals will hem and haw from the sidelines and pretend that they're on the same side. And because people naturally want to extend charitability, even in a political setting, even where it might not be warranted, that has a massive effect. And the Democratic Party, of course, has been very good at this over the years. It's, in fact, probably the only thing that they have been good at, aside from losing to Republicans, is icing out the left, the real left. There were select few instances where socialist politicians and left politicians made waves in the 20th century. I think there was a well, No, you know what? Anecdotes notwithstanding, we've seen a million times throughout congressional primaries, local and state level primaries. In my state here, you know, I've seen this. I've seen this in New York. I've seen this in Ohio. I've seen this in Michigan. I've seen this. Pick a state, right? There will be a progressive challenger, and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, and the DCCC, all the arms of the Democratic Party, will straightforwardly give preference and funding and insider information to the incumbent, the establishment candidate. Even when progressives win, when AOC won, and when Jamal Bowman won, when a bunch of progressive politicians won, the Democratic Party fucking kicked into high gear to fund challengers against them from a centrist angle. If Zohran Mamdani wins, we can all take from this that artifice is too weak to work anymore. That like whole machine of inside party power that can ice out progressives and socialists, that can like kick them off the ballot, that can bar them from making any meaningful difference, is gone now. Effectively, we will have succeeded, at least partially, in bullying the Democrats into submission, in bullying them partially, like the Republicans did this in part. The Democratic Party will have been like so weak that even on their home turf, the most home turf that you could imagine, they still couldn't win. And that is super important, because if we want to beat the fascists, the liberals need to get the fuck out of the way, because the liberals are aiding and abetting the fascists by being massive cucks and ceding ground to them, you know? And by, like, partially just doing the fascism themselves, you know, many of the centrist Democrats will so gleefully default to the line of law and order, fund the police more, when the police are, like, saying January 6th was based, actually, let me go kill some protesters real quick. I'm gonna, like, now that I've said all that, I'm actually, like, not only would I be really happy if he wins, if Zohran Mamdani wins, I might actually, like, just start tweaking if he loses. Like, fuck. You know? That gas station weed has nothing on, like, what my state of mind will be if the Democratic Party somehow makes Zohran Mamdani lose this primary election. All right, that's that's the segment. Don't let it go on for any longer. I've rambled long enough. Thanks for watching, and support the channel if you would be so kind.